Welcome to the Gender Rebels, a question and answer podcast that explores life outside the gender binary.
I'm Kath, a cis woman and ally.
And I'm Faith, a trans woman.
Special thank you to all our Patreon supporters. Hey everyone, I'm Kath.
And I am Faith.
Faith, I got a question.
Yes.
Do we have any new patrons to thank?
We do.
Yay!
We've got Dustin M.
Dustin M. I like to hang out with them.
Frank B.
Frank B. Sails the sea.
Timmy.
Timmy makes me wanna shimmy.
Dan K.
Dan K. goes all the way.
Sure. Robin C.
Robin C. is alright by me.
Alright, I think this is Uday.
Uday.
Uday M.
Uday M. Such a gem.
Aya or Aya.
Going my way, ya?
Such a playa.
Ooh, yours is best.
And Edward.
Edward.
Thanks, Edward.
Thanks, Edward.
All right.
So, Faith, we have had an eventful couple of weeks since we last recorded.
We have. Our last episode, I was actually in the hospital. Still, I am no longer in the hospital. Isn't that fantastic? Getting from the hospital to the house, not fun.
Yeah.
Especially that last day.
Yeah.
That was really, really rough. So I'm very happy. I'm thankful to be out of the hospital. I'm especially thankful to be eating real food. That hospital food was like decent, but after a while you're like, no. You snuck me in pizza one time, which was like cold pizzeria pizza.
It was lukewarm. I brought it straight from the pizzeria and it was really hot out, so it didn't like cool off much. But even so, you know how it is. It wasn't like piping out of the oven when she got it.
It was still amazing. It was ridiculously amazing to eat food with like salt in it, I think.
So like hospitals are never like awesome places to be, even when they're really nice and world class and everything. You know, the food wasn't great. The light was always on. You were always getting interrupted. You couldn't really sleep.
Yeah.
Stuff was painful. What was the worst part of the hospital? I
think I sent you like the photos of my room at night with all the lights turned off, and it's still pretty bright.
Yeah.
It was basically like a slightly dimmed room.
Because the door was like a sliding glass door and sort of a fog glass, you know.
Yeah.
It wasn't like clear glass, but you still had the full light from the hallway coming in through your sliding glass
And I kept
door.
telling the staff, I'm like, gosh, I wish it was dark. And they're like, you can close the window shades. And I'm like, it's not.
The window is not the problem.
It's dark outside. The light from the hallway and the light from all the machines, Yeah. So that was rough. Getting interrupted every couple hours during the night is rough.
Because they take your vitals or give you meds or something. And
you're
asleep. It's 11 or 2 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely hard. And being able to sleep uninterrupted the first day. So the last day of the hospital, that was the roughest. And for those of you...
And we haven't reported on that.
No. For those of you who are thinking about having the surgery or curious about it, it's a serious surgery. It's quite a lot. And we can get into the nitty gritty.
Oh, we're talking about GRS for anyone who's joining us.
Gender reassignment surgery.
For the first time. Yeah.
Genital reassignment surgery.
Oh.
Genital confirmation surgery. I don't know.
We call it the crotch swap in this
crotch
house?
swap or getting a hoo-ha installed. The actual name of it, because if you read trans forums like I have for the past 20 years, it's been SRS, GRS, GCS. What I actually had was a robotic penile inversion vaginoplasty. That's the actual name of the surgery.
Robot assist?
I think it's just called robotic. Robotic. So whether it's GRS, GCS, whatever, that's actually beside the point because it has an actual name in medical circles. So we can call it robo surgery, whatever. But quite involved. And so when you come out of surgery, I don't even remember I haven't listened to our last episode, but
You're the worst.
When you come out of surgery, this is what I remember. I remember reading about this. That like you really, really have to pee because you have a catheter in, and your body doesn't know what to do with this feeling.
Yeah.
And so your body's like, we must have to pee, but you can't pee. So you just have this like extreme feeling of having to pee.
And also there's no urine in your bladder. She did an ultrasound. This is like right after the surgery. And sorry for those of you who, we might be repeating. right after the show. Oh, she's in the recovery area. You can see her for 10 minutes. That kind of thing. You were pretty woozy.
Yeah.
And your main thing was, I really have to pee. I really have to pee. And they have a device that is specifically built to do a sonogram on the bladder. An ultrasound, sonogram, same thing, uses sound waves. And the woman, she was super nice. She did a check and she said, okay, so there's about a tablespoon of urine in your bladder. So I can't even imagine how frustrating that is to be receiving the message from your bladder.
I don't even remember this.
I have to go, and there's nothing in your bladder. And I get that it's the catheter and it's the pressure on certain nerves, but if I have that urge, I'm gonna pee, and you couldn't.
No. So I had that catheter tube coming out of me. I had another tube, which was to a wound vac. And that was that involved a drain of fluid, gross brownish red fluid. It
was chunky.
Yeah, it's not great, but
when it's a wound vac, it's a wound vacuum. When we say that, you might picture like a floor vacuum. That's not at all what it is. It's just it covers the wound and it applies a slight amount of atmospheric negative pressure, meaning a slight suction, and that keeps the edges of the wound together. And it's actually a really good device, and it saves them having to make instead of 1 billion stitches, they only had to make 1 million stitches.
Yeah, and so then all of that's held together with a big basic diaper, you could call it. And it's, just a diaper full of gauze. Just a big gauze diaper that you're wearing for the first few days, maybe 2 or 3 days after surgery. And then, so we're going to do the last day. We're going to talk about the last day because we talked about the first part of this, just being in the hospital, the gas pain, things like this. So we're now going to talk about just the last day, getting out of the hospital. So you have a lot of stuff on that day. And when I say last day, this is actually going to be slightly more, let's call it the last 20 hours.
Yeah.
Because at the start of this, the nurses were even joking. They're like, you're not going to get any sleep tonight. And I didn't. Over the course of this maybe 20 hours, I got maybe 2 hours of sleep. And I mean in intermittent 30-minute chunks.
And it wasn't funny either.
It wasn't funny. But the nurse staff was all fantastic. They really were.
And not to say that this last day layout is going to be exactly the same for everyone. Obviously, this is just how it was conducted at NYU Langone, where we were for the procedure. Yours may vary, although these steps are going to be involved in your care, in your process somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the day before you leave the hospital, starting that evening, I think they took the packing off. I'm sorry, they took all the bandage off, the gauze diaper. So you get that off, and you get to walk around a little bit without it. You start walking with it on, and you're kind of hobbling because you can't get your legs more than 8 inches together.
It's a waddle.
You've got this big gap, and you're
but they
kind of
want
waddling.
You to walk before all that packaging is gone.
Yeah, so you have to walk with the packaging, and then they take it off, and that didn't really hurt. There was some tape involved, which obviously tape is involved a lot in medical procedures and often tends to be some of the most painful stuff is getting that tape off.
But it's so good at what it does. They're never going to not use tape.
I know.
Remember your old KT Pro tape days?
Yeah.
Okay, you know how it is.
So got that done, and then you go for a walk without that, and you can walk a little better, but you still got tubes hanging out of your flesh, which is weird. You still got those 2 tubes. So then while later, you get the wound vac unhooked. You get that tube taken out, and there's some tape involved in that. And I don't remember that being very painful at all. You get the catheter out. And that one felt weird.
Oh.
It actually felt like pee, like a burning pee.
Okay.
Like you're peeing. It feels like you're peeing because your
stuff going out of your
urethra feels like peeing. And so you feel like you're peeing, but it hurts a little bit, but it's not too bad.
Pee.
And I had good nurses. I had the night nurses there. They were the ones who took it out. And this is the night before I'm leaving. This is maybe at about 10 o'clock at night.
Cool.
That they take your urethra out.
Cool.
Not your urethra. They take your catheter out of your urethra.
Do they just pull?
They just pull it.
Or
They were like
more?
1, 2, 3, and they pull it out, and it's not bad.
Okay.
Obviously, you think it's going to be bad,
It's
but
not
the
good.
nurses were like, it's not great, but the nurses were like, all right, this isn't really going to hurt. It's just going to feel weird.
Okay.
Anytime you hear that from a medical professional, it's going to basically hurt. We talked about this before, we might have, but like your brain doesn't know what to do with these sensations, so it interprets them as pain. And so,
or it gets you like ready. You tense up, and even if it's just weird or burning or pressure or something, your body's like, I don't know. Yeah.
So with the urethra out, you've got
with the catheter.
catheter out. You've got to learn.
She
You've got to pee.
still has her urethra.
I still most of it. You actually you have to pee for yourself. You have to learn to pee for yourself. And if you don't pee and pee well enough, they'll put a catheter back in, and you get to have a catheter for a week at home. And I really didn't want to do this. I really wanted to get the catheter out before I went home. And thankfully, like an hour after, I managed to pee for the first time, which hurt like a motherfucker. Because if you even when I peed after when I was my old bipinist self and had a catheter for another surgery, the first time you pee after the catheter comes out, it hurts like a motherfucker. It's not fun. And so it was that, so I got to experience that. And then I got a fun thing, and this is the beginning of that night, that night before you leave the hospital. Anytime you pee, they want you to go for a walk. After
Okay.
to like keep things moving. I think that's the idea is like, and we were going for like a loop around the hospital floor.
Yeah.
This is maybe 300 feet.
She's not going outside.
Yeah.
She's not doing stairs. She's not taking the
We're doing
elevator. It's just a circle.
Slow walk around the hospital floor. And then they do the ultrasound kind of on your belly to check your bladder. So the first time I did it, they were like, well, you've still got 100 milliliters or whatever you've got in there. And I was like, that's good or bad? And they're like, well, it's not ideal. And I'm like, oh shit. But thankfully I peed like 3 more times that night, which also meant having to like buzz the nurses to like come take care of you, to check you after that. And this is the same thing as any hospital. Like, you're getting interrupted constantly. You've got people coming in to take your vitals. There was the shift change at 8 a.m. was the worst, because then like it was just a nonstop circus through your room, and half the time I'd be trying to like sleep.
Does anyone try to get work done while they're there? Can you freaking imagine? You were just trying to sleep or watch TV, and you were constantly interrupted.
You can't really sleep or watch TV. You will get interrupted constantly, and so the nursing staff loved me.
Of course they did. Have you met
Because
you?
I think they had all Karens. I think like everyone else was Karen. They were like Trump supporters, they said, that were like, because I had to get these shots. I would get shots twice a day, and they were like, one time they were like, where do you want it? And it's left arm, right arm, whatever.
Yeah.
I had bruises all up and down both arms.
They were elaborate. Yeah.
And so one time I was like in Donald Trump's eyeball. When they were like, where do you want the shot? And they were like, it's so great because there's like a bunch of Trump supporters
here.
in New York City. Who knew?
Or people who came down from Westchester.
Yeah,
or
or old
Staten
people.
Island, or out from New Jersey or Long Island. Like, there's red splotches not too far from us.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, so after that sleepless night of trying to sleep in little fits and starts, and you're not really able to, they had scheduled at like 6 a.m. to take my packing out.
You're packing out.
And there's 2 doctors involved in this. One's a urologist and one's the plastic surgeon.
The 2 surgeons.
They're the 2 surgeons,
yes.
And so the first one comes in. He's the urologist. He is not a gentleman.
No!
I'm sure he's a gentleman in all respects, but he's not a gentleman. So he comes in and he starts just poking around really hard. And I'm like, and I'm like literally screaming because this guy's like poking and stuff, and
literally screaming.
Yeah.
Did it slow him down or anything?
No.
Or he's just like
he's checking stuff. He's poking stuff. He's like, well, we'll work on the packing. He's like pushing hard on.
No, not fun. Do that, please.
Not fun. Not fun. This is like 6 a.m. I barely slept. And this is just the start of like this day.
So just real quick, if you could estimate, how much sleep did you actually get with the peeing and the procedures?
Probably about 2 hours.
So in together,
fits and starts.
2 hours.
And we're talking 30-minute chunks.
So it's important that you know what she's operating.
Oh yeah, I saw the sun coming up and I'm like, fuck this.
God damn it. The packaging.
So then my packing's gonna come out. And the packing is literally in your vagina.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bunch of gauze and stuff. And it's gonna come out. Mm-hmm. And what I've always heard about this was it'll feel really weird. Mm-hmm. And so I've constantly heard, oh, it'll feel weird. It doesn't hurt, but it'll feel weird.
Yeah.
Okay, motherfucker, it hurt. Definitely hurts. And if it didn't hurt, my brain interpreted it as hurt. That sentence makes sense. My brain interpreted it as hurt.
Which is the same thing.
Which is the same about it. Yes. So I was literally like screaming like, fuck. And I actually did scream like, stop. And like, as I screamed stop, they had finished. This was like 8 seconds maybe, but it was like, it feels like your guts are getting ripped out. It's terrible.
Have you ever felt a similar pain?
I got the packing pulled out of my nose when I got my FFS, my facial feminization surgery.
Link down below.
So that felt weird, but this was like, so that was traumatizing.
I'm so
that
sorry,
was like legit traumatizing. And yeah, and then my wound, my surgical area, as I learned to describe it, didn't look right. And I was like, it doesn't look right. What's going on? Doesn't look... I've seen vaginas.
I know what it's supposed to look like.
I know what they're supposed to look like. It doesn't look like that.
that.
And it was because it was all swollen and stuff. And so...
There's bruising. There's stitches. There's that weird orange iodine.
Yeah.
They like swipe that over you before they cut in, and that's fine because it disinfects or sterilizes. But then they don't wipe it off after.
Yeah.
They're all orange.
Oh, and I had all this surgical glue.
And there's glue from the
all
tape.
over my belly.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was. I don't know if it was the tape or it was something else, but it was just all over me. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, Anywho, so this is like, it's 6:30 a.m. at this point. Mm-hmm. And then, so I can like eat my breakfast. I was eating cereal. Thankfully I was able to get coffee at the hospital. It wasn't great coffee, but it was nice to have a little cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. And you could get that.
And I brought you iced coffee each time.
You would. Yeah. Kathleen would bring me an iced coffee, which was nice to have. But so like 6:30 I'm eating my breakfast, and at this point nurses are coming and going, and we're getting to shift change, and shift change means like the person comes in to clean the room, the person comes in to stock the room. It's just literally it's like an endless parade of people over the course of an hour. Like, and I'm trying to like nod off, and like I just can't. And what else happened that day? Oh, so then the next fun thing is the trans nurses specifically that help the trans people. They came in and they were going to teach me to dilate.
Right.
And for those of you who don't know what that is, when you get this surgery, male to female, genital reassignment, vaginoplasty, whatever, you've got to dilate, or else it'll scar up and close up.
It'll close up. It's like getting your ears pierced.
Yeah.
In every possible way.
It's just like getting your ears pierced. Only you're getting your torso pierced.
You got the underside of your torso pierced. And just like when you get your ears pierced and you have to twirl the posts and clean them twice a day, it's the same sort of thing. You have to keep a thing in there so it doesn't heal itself closed.
But you can't keep a thing in you because it wouldn't heal properly, so you got to put it in from time to time. And so that's what I had to do.
And that's called dilation.
That's called dilating. And so they come in and they're like, we're going to teach you to dilate. And I think this must have been about 8 a.m. What time did you get there? Because you got there.
It was early. It was like 7:30 or something.
Yeah.
And visiting hours started at 2, so I knew I'd have to like convince the people at the front desk because they're pretty strict about it, which is their job and good for them. And I was like, I know visiting hours are 2, but I'm here to help my partner learn about some post-surgical care. Can I go up? And she's like, I'll call and find out. Called. And it was actually kind of tricky to reach a nurse up there. And then she told me, I reached someone she's being checked out now. You can just wait down here. And I sat down in the waiting area and cried because I knew that isn't right.
Aww.
And I'm not quite sure what to do right now.
Yeah.
And this has all been a little hard. And also there's a pandemic going on. So
I didn't realize that. You didn't tell me that.
No, it's not your... You had a lot going on that day. So I didn't want to... So that's when I texted you. And I was like, they said they're checking you out.
Yeah.
And I'll be down.
I had to get the other nurses on it on my end.
Exactly.
And they were able to get you up.
So I didn't know if maybe this is a lot simpler and faster than I thought. Or if I'm being a bad partner or what. And you're like, no, that's wrong. Have them talk to this guy. And I was like, okay. So I went back to the desk and I'm like, hey, sorry to be annoying. I have to go up there. And she looked at me and she's like, oh, it's something about the floor you were on or
really?
The name that I dropped or something like that. She made another call and I was able to go up. So that was my come up and find you adventure. I think I got up there a little after 8 maybe.
Okay. So it was still pretty damn when we got to do the first dilation, which is not fun. It's not fun. They said we had attended a class, link down below, about vaginoplasty and the care. And one of the things that they had said, and they'd given me tons of literature, I'd watched videos about this. They were very good about supplying that stuff. But one of the things they always reiterated was dilating doesn't hurt. It's never supposed to hurt. Okay.
There's pressure. It's strange.
Definitely hurts.
It hurts.
Yeah, it hurts. Okay. And
sorry to be a source of transgender related media and to be telling you this, but I don't know if that's some secret we're supposed to be keeping from people or something.
It definitely hurts the first time. I think it gets easier. It definitely gets easier. And we can do a whole episode about dilating.
It just gets easier.
Yeah, it just gets easier. It's like anything. The first time you do it, hurt like a motherfucker. They give you some pillows to prop your legs up. They give you some like baby puppy pads to sit on so that you can use all over those. You get all your different lubes and you get a 4-pack of dilators. You start on the second smallest one.
We don't waste our time with the purple.
You don't waste your time with the purple. Fuck the purple. You start with the blue. The blue's like smaller and thinner than the later ones. And yeah, doing this is hard, especially when you've got like 4 people in the room, like guiding you through it and commanding you in no uncertain terms to relax. Relax. You're not relaxing enough.
You're too tense.
Stop being tense. You need to relax. Start relaxing right now.
Relax now. Relax more.
Yeah. You're not relaxing enough. And again, there's breathing exercises that they will command you to do.
And you've got your kind of baseline painkillers in your system. You've got your Tylenol.
But it's also the first time you've got a brand new genital down there betwixt your nethers. and like, it's the first time you're messing with it also. And it's like kind of weird and it's new sensations and it's scary and it kind of hurts and like people are telling you to relax and whatever, and there's a muscle group you kind of have to get past, and it's hard to do.
And there's
incredibly hard to do,
and stitches down there, like
and it burns. Thankfully, it stopped burning, but you've just got tons of stitches and stuff, and the lube, when the lube touches any of those wounds, of which there are tons down there, it burns like a motherfucker.
And it's just lube. It's like the most innocuous, and it's the nothing of slippery things, but even so, it is an open cut. It's not fun. It's not fun.
So I finally did the first one, and that was not fun at all. I almost cried during it.
Yeah.
And I was at my wit's end at this point, and there was more to come. So that was the first one.
And everyone, I have to tell them the positive side of this, because otherwise it will scare people away from getting this. It's like the staff is super sweet and patient and kind and take a minute and here's the best way, and some people find tilting it this way helps, and this might be more comfortable. And how are you doing with this? Because there is a lot going on.
But it's also a weird thing. One person other than me has seen my genitals for 10 years. All right.
And now
everyone and their brother is coming in to take a look. And you're like...
Surgeon 1, Surgeon 2, Nurse 1, Nurse 2.
Oh, plenty of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while I was doing the dilating, also, like, we hit into the shift change. While I was dilating, and the staff from the surgeon's office was very nice because they were like, "Can you come back in a minute?" And because you do get that morning parade, and I was doing this at the time of the morning parade, and I'm like almost in tears, like, "Oh, I just can't do this. I'm never gonna do this." And finally, I did it. It sucked.
You did it, yeah.
I did it, but there were parts where you're like, "Wait, oh, nope, it's definitely going in." Okay, that's weird. Getting better at it. I haven't counted, but it's been 18 days since surgery, dilating 4 times a day. So that's 4 times 18. In school, we only got up to 12. So let's say I've done this 50 times.
You've done it 72 times.
Except that I only started like the 4th day after surgery. So whatever.
You did it. Well, okay.
5th day after surgery. I don't know. But so 60 times. I've done it 60 times at this point, and it's definitely getting easier. But this first time was a motherfucker. So then they're like, all right, now you got to learn to douche. And the way douching works is you get a rubber tube with a big old syringe, and you fill it with saline, and you stick it up your hoo-ha, and you go, and you press it down, and the water goes up and washes out.
Just the tube goes up your hoo-ha, not the
syringe. Yeah. And it's a thin rubber tube. So we get to go try that next in the little shower area of the bathroom. And this was fun.
Of her own private bathroom.
I had my own private bathroom. The room was really nice, definitely. Yeah. But so as I'm trying to put this thing in, I realized now looking back, I didn't know this because it's a brand new genital. Looking back, I realized I was kind of sticking it in my urethra.
Oh, it was too far forward.
Because your vaginal canal's a little further back than you think.
Yep.
And so the first time, yeah, I'm trying to stick it up my urethra, which fucking hurts. And I think I bent over while I was doing it, and I was like, oh no, I don't feel good. And I was like, nope, I'm having vasovagal response. And for those who don't know, vasovagal response is like fainting.
Yep.
It's your blood pressure just drops like a anvil in a cartoon. Like a coyote off a cliff.
That is literally what happened. Your blood pressure dropped.
Yeah.
So far.
Scary low.
And so fast.
Yeah.
The shower area of the bathroom had a little bench on the wall. And our super nice nurse said, okay, so I'm going to guide you over to this bench. You're going to sit down. And then she pulled the cord for a couple of nurses. And they brought in the blood pressure machine.
Yeah. Sphygmomanometer, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Link down below because we probably mispronounced it. And things got very crowded in there for a little while.
There was like 5-6 people in there. Yeah.
Because this abrupt drop of blood pressure means you were pretty close to fainting, and they definitely didn't want you to fall.
Yeah. And I didn't faint, thankfully.
You didn't faint, yeah.
I came close, and I figured this was like my body just like fucking giving up after.
Done.
Because it's hard to say even in this podcast, but we're on like, just it's like constant interruption, constant new stuff. Your brain's having to learn this new stuff. You're dealing with like pain and discomfort and awkwardness and just
sex
unpleasantness
and pee things, poop things. Like it's there's a lot.
It's a lot, and it's unpleasant, and yeah.
And they do their best to make it user-friendly and informed and guided and supported, but there's no way to make it not weird.
Yeah, so I think this fainting was my body. It was either one, I bent over too fast or something, or B, my body was like, fuck this, I'm getting out of here. Yeah. Unfortunately, my fainting spell, my blood pressure got like scary low. I've never actually had blood pressure done during. I've had vasovagal response. I've had fainting response before. It's never been fun. It's always very unpleasant, but I've never actually had my blood pressure taken during it.
It was 73/50.
Yeah, it was pretty low.
For those of you who know about blood pressure.
And it's normally like 105/70 or something. I have no idea. I forget what it is.
You're right. 110/70 is normal.
But I normally have very good blood pressure. And so this was like, anyway, they were like, just sit down, rest for a while, have some apple juice. And, unfortunately, that delayed us leaving the hospital because we were supposed to get out at like noon, but then after that,
we were supposed to get out at 10:30. Believe it or not.
Oh, were we?
Yeah.
Oh, so then
I don't know who it goes so smoothly for that they're like, whoop, dilated, easy peasy.
Yeah. So
douched, easy peasy. Bye.
They sat me down on a chair, gave me some apple juice, and were like, just sit and rest for like an hour. So we did, and then finally
they went away. They closed the door.
Yeah.
It was cool.
And then finally they came back and were like, all right, we're doing this again. So managed to douche the second time. And then dilated again, which is, again, slightly easier than the first time. I've noticed dilating does tend to get easier over time. And we managed to like get a huge collection of stuff because now it was done. I managed to douche, I managed to dilate twice, and they're like, here's your instruction booklet, of which we'll give you 50 pages of instructions, and you have to sign out and all that stuff. And then they gave us like, it was like basically like medical Christmas at this point.
Yep.
We got pillows, we got pee pads, we got lube, we got medications. You had to run down to the pharmacy at one point.
Yeah, I had to pick up a bunch of your painkillers.
Yeah.
I think it was mostly painkillers.
It
wasn't even like antibiotics or anything. It was all about managing the pain.
Yeah. So, got all of that, and
we had, no joke, like 6 or 7 shopping bags full
like big bags.
Stuff, which we have used all of it.
Oh, yeah. I actually had to put an order in for more lube and stuff like that. But, which I realize now I should have gotten a double order, but whatever. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we waited around for like an hour for a wheelchair.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I was like, I can walk. And they're like, no, you need a wheelchair. We put in an order. It should be up here soon. And we waited like an hour for that. And at that point I was like, fuck it. I've barely slept. I have had my genitals poked and probed by everyone and their sister.
Yep.
I am ready to go fucking home.
Yes.
So fucking ready. So then we finally got a cab who went a weird way. Every time I leave the hospital, I can't get a normal cab.
We have the worst luck. The next time one of us leaves a hospital, we're getting a friend to drive us.
Maybe. I don't know.
We're going to take the slowest, smoothest roads possible. I don't care if it takes an extra hour.
No, I remember one time you had surgery, and
that was messed up too.
Yeah, and we got stuck on the Brooklyn Bridge in like a ton of traffic.
And he had some alarm going off in his car that he couldn't turn off.
Yeah. And then the other time we had that guy who was way too talkative.
That post FFS ride home, he was fascinated, and it was a visible surgery. Obviously, it's her freaking face, and he's like, "What's that for? How much did that cost? What was the problem? Are you sick? Blah blah blah." And I should have shut it down, and I didn't. And now this guy, who was a very speedy, very start and stop kind of guy, and also took a very weird,
circuitous way home
route. We're like, where are we going? Why are you taking us so far into Brooklyn when we're way behind you? And then he eventually looped around, and we're like, I don't even know.
Thankfully, it was like an Uber and not a cab, because we would have paid an extra $15.
We probably paid a lot for that. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Yeah. We eventually got home. And your 6 or 7 shopping bags full of stuff.
Yeah, and I crashed for 3 hours. I just slept for 3 hours.
That's it.
And I felt so much better after sleeping for 3 hours. And then I dilated again. And then you were so nice. You made a whole list of every medication I needed to take at various times. And
meds, dilation, shower, douche, meals, glasses of water, repeat.
Yeah. So it's been almost 2 weeks since I got home. Actually, it's been 2 weeks. Tomorrow is 2 weeks since I've been home. Settled into a little bit of a routine. and things are definitely getting easier. Still in some pain, but it's getting better. And it's been a little bit of a ride.
So looking back on it, I don't know. What would you warn someone? Or what were you surprised by?
I texted a friend of ours who had recently had her surgery last year, and with a different doctor. And I had said, I knew recovery is going to be hard, but this is hard.
Which is exactly what I was told.
And I remember my doctor, my endo, who works at Callan Lawrence, she, deals with trans women all the time. She wrote my letters and stuff. And she was like, maybe a week before the surgery, I had to get my blood work or something. And she was like, you ready? And I was like, I don't, as ready as I'll ever be. And I don't think I'll ever be ready.
Yeah.
And as I kind of, it feels good to, I knew, one of the things I knew about the surgery was that it was going to be a huge ass recovery.
Yes.
And I knew that. I knew that going in. I'd read countless blogs. I'd watched countless videos. I knew going in it was going to be a hard recovery. This is not going to be a fun recovery. And so I did my best to brace myself for that.
Okay.
There have been times where I was like, what the fuck? I think there have been a couple times like, what the fuck did I do?
Why did I do this?
Why the fuck did I do this?
Wow.
Just when I'm at when I was in a lot of pain the first couple of days, I was like, oh my God, I didn't need to do this. Why the fuck did I do this? Again, this is something I've wanted for years. This is something I wanted for decades. This is something I'd been looking into for decades. This is something I absolutely want. But it's also like, oh my God. Because I was in a lot of pain the first couple days.
Sure.
Post-surgery absolutely involved an awful lot of pain, and there's still pain to this day. I'm starting to wean myself off the painkillers now, which you've heard me occasionally go.
We'll take walks, but not like long walks.
Yeah.
Or she'll walk into the room and or I'll hear her in another room while she's standing or doing something and hear wincing. And sometimes it's louder wincing than other times. And I don't feel like you should be in pain.
But I feel like the recovery has been actually easier than I thought.
Oh, that's interesting.
As hard as it is. And it is very hard. But I think it was like within a week, I was feeling a lot better. And I know I'm going to get to a point where Thursday, like literally Thursday, is halfway through my 4 times a day dilation,
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's like the first 6 weeks. And then you switch to 3 times a day with the bigger thing.
The big one, yeah.
And so that's going to be a thing that, we get through. But it's sort of just, like, there's been times I felt fine, I felt great. And I'm like, oh, I think I'm healing quite well. I think that was like the first time we went to the doctor's office, and I'm like, wow, I think I'm healing really well. I've been able to go to walks, on walks. I've been able to go short walks. I've been able to go to the grocery store by myself. And again, I've had to like sort of time my walks with
your painkillers.
With painkillers. Like there'll be times when I'm like, let's go for a walk, or it's time to walk our dogs, and I'm like, I can barely get down the block.
Yeah.
And then there's been other times where I think because of the painkiller balance, I'm just like, let's go to the store, let's walk 3 neighborhoods over.
Yeah.
Things like that. I definitely think my spirits improved greatly with regular sleep and with actual food and stuff. That's helped. God, I really want to drink.
She still can't have any alcohol.
I can't have any alcohol, and I'm like, wait a second, am I an alcoholic for wanting a drink really bad? But I don't think so, because it's been a month and a half, I think, since I've not had a drink, and
I'm not being that supportive kind of partner who's like, if you can't drink, we can't drink. No, I got a beer right in front of me right now.
It's just one of those moments where I'm like, I have a nice, fancy, expensive champagne in the fridge that I've been saving for an appropriate moment. And I think that'll be my got through GRS, bottle.
I thought that was our got through COVID-19.
Yeah, but COVID's going to be years. I'll buy another one for Or I'll go, you know what? I'll go to the damn liquor store and I'll go get another thing.
I'll get another thing. I'll get one for celebrating your new crotch.
There we go.
And we'll keep that one for celebrating COVID being over, whether that's 2021 or not.
Yeah. So it's been, there's been times when I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck did I do to myself? And there's been other times where I'm like, this is fantastic. I feel great. I feel like I'm recovering nicely. The doctors I've seen, when I saw my doctor a week later out of the hospital, they were like, wow, you're doing great. You're doing fantastic. Everything's doing nicely.
It's got to feel good.
It does. So I think with that, like there's still bad moments but for the most part it's a lot better. It's starting to feel a lot normal. I love not having to work right now.
Thank God.
I'm still fighting with some insurance stuff, which I think is good and resolved. I was doing that in the fucking hospital.
Unbelievable.
Can you believe that?
No.
America. And, I'm like recovering from surgery and getting calls from the insurance company and being like, hey, nurse, did you fax this form over?
Yeah.
So I'm still dealing with that a little bit. But yeah, for the most part, it feels better. I'm still in like the recovery, so I haven't quite gotten to that point of like, woo, I'm done. We
haven't gone horseback riding yet.
No,
we haven't gone bike riding.
I had 3 major surgeries, and I realized this from August to July, which is 11 months.
Yeah.
I had 3 major surgeries in 11 months, because one was late August, one was early July, so it's about 10 and a half months.
This has been a hell of a year.
I know, right? And then I look back on that, I'm like, oh my God, I had FFS, I had breast aug, and I had GRS in the span of 11 months. It was actually supposed to be like 6 months, and I got it pushed back because of COVID, but like, it's crazy. I'm getting to the point again where I'm like, I'm fucking sick of doctors.
The good news is, except for your follow-ups, you're done with that.
Yeah, for the time being. I've still got monthly visits, or I've still got weekly visits for the first month, I think, and then it switches to monthly for the first 6 months, I think.
But no surgeries in the near future.
Knock on wood, right? There we go. That's her knocking on wood. So yeah, it's been a ride. Hell of a ride, but it's been good, and I can't believe I'm done, and I feel like I haven't reached a point where I can just be like, and be happy with the new me
with
yet.
What you've got. Yeah.
Because I'm still kind of processing everything.
Well, I mean, you're getting there.
How have you been with
me?
With the new me?
Not literally being operated on and having stuffing up my crotch like a fucking Thanksgiving turkey.
Yeah.
Not having to mimic sex with a dense, heavy plastic medical dildo. Not having, like, great. Like, super awesome. Like, looking at you makes me realize how happy and lucky I am.
Yeah.
But also I'm sad when I know you're in pain and struggling or bored or, you're not back to normal yet. That's got to be so hard.
It's, we're going to get there. And that's also, I feel like COVID's like weirded things a little bit too.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's also at the same point, I'm like, I'm not going to go back to the office after 6 weeks, which is nice. I don't think. And the last I talked to my boss, it was like, yeah, we're probably going to be working from home till at least the end of the year. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But that's like a nice thing, because I'm not going to have to like come home at lunch to dilate or have to
try to do it in the office.
Yeah. Which people do. Some people do.
That's it. On one hand, I feel awful for you because we started working from home in the middle of March, and you got this surgery in the end of June,
early July.
And you got this surgery at the end of July. Well, we had run through all of the movies, TV shows, books, magazines, music, podcasts. You used up all the media that was going to amuse you during your
I did.
recovery.
I still have some things to watch and stuff, but yeah.
So it was bad timing on that
I still
end.
need to find a new show. That's the thing.
Yeah, recommendations for good comedies, please. And we tried The Good Place, and we tried Bob's Burgers, and we tried Blackish. Those didn't really take. We really like 30 Rock and Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Things We Do in the Shadows. So things like that. Recommendations
Yeah,
wanted.
we've been burning through shows so fast.
Like everyone here.
Yeah.
So on one sense, you're unlucky that you did this during quarantine. And on the other sense, you're very lucky that no one's going back to the office for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So there's a trade-off there.
I've got Civ. I bought some arts and crafts stuff to do, which unfortunately involves sitting, which isn't the most comfortable.
Yeah,
but
so sitting has been a surprise, and it really shouldn't have been. But she's
getting better.
got, you know how sometimes people who have like hemorrhoids or something, they sit on a donut pillow. She's got a similar thing. It's a waffle pillow, but it means that sitting is rough.
it can be.
and-
Sitting can be rough.
We have some hard wooden chairs that wooden chair plus waffle is not sufficient. We've been eating dinner on the couches, which is fine. The only downside is if we wanted to take a long walk or explore a neighborhood or ride the subway or do anything to alleviate the boredom of being in the same place all the time, it's just not really an option because sitting isn't really an option. So I feel bad for you for how bored you must
Well,
be.
it's the thing. I've got to go into 2 doctor's appointments tomorrow, so I'm like, am I going to try to take the subway?
Take
or
a car.
I'll probably take a car.
Just take a car. It's cushy.
Yeah. But, so it was like I wanted to take her out to eat. God, I want French fries, but I can't eat French fries. Because
You have to be out.
Because
to
I
eat
can't,
French
you have to
fries.
be out and sit down at a place to get fresh from the fryer fries.
We've ordered them.
If you order them, it's hard, they're not as good. And
they're
I
a
haven't
little
had
bit
French
cold.
fries in like a month. And I want French fries.
We've ordered them and we put them in the oven as soon as they arrived. And you know how it is. It's just not the same.
It's just not the same. So I will get some fries one day, and
Yes.
as soon as I can reliably sit down at a restaurant for like an hour,
That's where we're going.
we're gonna go out and get some damn fries.
One of those socially distanced,
Yeah.
outdoor, barrier around it,
Mm-hmm.
full compliance, New York City, masks on, except when food is literally going into your
Yeah.
face holes. We're going to do that.
Yeah, we'll do that.
We're not there yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet. But yeah, I'm optimistic. Things seem to be getting better every day. That's also, knock on wood, made me go like, all the horrible things they talked about could potentially haven't happened. Does that mean they're happening in the future? Or does that mean I'm through the woods? Or what's going on?
What are the horrible potential things?
Blood.
Oh,
Things
yeah,
like that.
you
Things
haven't
like that,
been
or
bloody.
blood, or sutures separating, or things like that.
Huh.
There's just bad things that can happen. And they
Sure,
give you
sure.
a lot of data about potential complications that can happen, and the vast majority, if they're going to happen, are going to happen in the first few days, which is why you're in the hospital.
Sure.
But yeah. So like nothing. It's been mostly smooth sailing. So I'm like, wait, is the shit gonna hit the fan? Is the other shoe gonna drop, or whatever it is? Didn't I butcher that phrase at one point?
No, those are both
Yeah.
both good expressions.
So I'm
the
like-
shit is going to hit the fan, or the other shoe is going to drop.
So that's what I've been like, is that going to happen, or am I through the woods on that? I don't know. Let's mix all the metaphors we can as we describe that. But, yeah, that's been a little tricky. So,
I think you have been sailing through it beautifully with elegance and serenity, although obviously it's difficult.
yeah.
But you're handling it.
Yeah.
You're managing really
I
well.
think it's been going, I think my recovery has been going as well as it potentially could.
You got makeup on. You look like $1,000,000 today.
I have twice since surgery had the wherewithal. No, maybe 3 times since surgery had the wherewithal to put on makeup and brush my hair and put on clothes,
Clean clothes.
clean clothes. So it's, but
It helps.
but even in quarantine, I wasn't doing that.
You weren't.
I'm kind of a lazy Lazy Lou, as they call him.
It's a weird time. We're all just going to try to get through it.
It's all just... I think after COVID, we're all just going to be like, sweatpants are fine.
Yoga pants have never been a problem, and they will never be a problem. And yes, I will wear them to my dissertation, my wedding, and my coronation. I don't know. Well, very cool. Thank you so much, baby girl.
Yeah, and we've actually got a bunch of questions from listeners, so I do want to record some of those pretty soon.
I hope so. Well, thanks for listening, everybody.
All right, everybody.
We'll talk to you next time.
All right.
Bye. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to help us keep making great content, go to patreon.com/genderrebels.
Please leave a 5-star review on iTunes.
And send your questions to questions@genderrebels.com.
Music for the Gender Rebels is by Jasper the Colossal. Link down below or download them on iTunes.
For all our episodes, visit genderrebels.com.
Gender Rebels is a Comeback Sync production. Copyright 2020, all rights reserved.
And to all you gender rebels out there,
keep rebelling! So...
I'm going to have you keep talking while I get a refill on it.
Okay.
Sure you don't want a beverage? We'll be here. Aren't you comfortable and happy?
Fine, give me a beverage.
I'm gonna.
Okay.
We'll take a brief pause. You could do a commercial or just sing.
There's lots of... Hi. Are you getting your genitals reassigned? There's lots of different robots you could use, such as the Da Vinci, a 4-port. And by that, I mean a 4-armed robot used in surgery. Or you could get the SP, a single-port robot. Single ports are simple. There's only one port, or arm, that is used to switch out your genitals. I say go simple. Go single port. Actually, a weird thing about my surgery, it was like 3 hours. It was like the length of the movie Dances with... It was like shorter than Dances with Wolves. Okay, come back. Where were we? Oh, we're getting my packing out.
You've had 2 hours of sleep.
Yes. So,
the packaging.
So then my packing's gonna come out. And the packing is literally in your vagina. It's a bunch of gauze and stuff.